2026. And of course, this morning we have quite a number of things to talk about. Amulwayeli Adelakon.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Of course, it's Daybreak Live Extra this morning, and we have quite a number of things to talk about. It's the 6th of March 2026. My name is Oluwayemi Adilakon.
And of course, my name is Anu Luapo Ido.
Samson Balogun is my name, and thank you for joining us for the show this morning. There are quite a number of things to discuss, and of course, on Daybreak Gist this morning, we'll be talking about the shake-up in the Nigerian police force, where Benjamin Dain has been told to rest a little bit, and of course, there will be another appointment to see shortly.
Definitely. And then away from that, we take the news and Anuluapo Ido, we fill you in on that particular one.
And of course, after the news, we have the
newspaper headlines and analysis.
Yes,
exactly.
And after then, the big story comes right off, and then we have conversations that, well, making the rounds across the nation.
And we pop our drink and just before we start.
Okay, and shortly after that, we'll round up with Trend Watch on this show, where we bring you trends on social media, and we'll feel the pulse of the people on the street too by checking the comment section. Right. Let's get straight into it this morning. Good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Welcome to Daybreak Live.
Definitely. All right, so what we are looking at this morning for Daybreak, just like you mentioned, is a particular report that the Nigeria Police Force has removed his force public relations officer, ACP Benjamin Day, barely 6 months after he assumed the influential position, and it was learned that the approval for Dane's removal was given on Thursday, yesterday, March 5. However, the circumstances surrounding the sordid development remain unclear as of the time of filing this report, according to the report that we had. Because, I mean, I think it's normal for every administration, a new administration, speaking about the police force, even in the army, you always see the shake-up, some persons will be reassigned, some persons will be promoted. Even the last IGP, I think, he did something similar to this. Some persons were promoted, some persons were reassigned, and even at the federal level, when a new president comes in, he will always he wants to work with people, not like maybe he will not work with people that were there before he came in, but he might just decide to reassign them because he understands them in another different light compared to the last person that was there. So I don't think it's really a big deal. We should just wait for the new. The one more thing is, I think he even posted yesterday, and then he's here to post this officially. So I think we await that. We are waiting to post that officially.
Well, most people would want to tribalize, a lot of things. When the new IGP was appointed by the president, so many people thought, oh, is Yoruba, should have been Frank Mba, should have been this, should have been that. And there's something I've always preached. We should not always think about tribes or religion when it comes to appointments. Putting the right peg in the right hole is much more important than where that person is from. And I do know that at least if I do not know anything, I know for a fact that when you come in, as a new IG, as a new president, governor, the most important thing for you to do is to do a shake-up. Some people already know that the moment you come in, then their positions, is up for grabs for someone else. They are definitely living with the last administration. But in the police, when you are still, contracted to the police force, you still have a deal with them, you are still in service, so to speak. It means that whether you like it or not, you are still there, but then you might not have the same appointment. But what I see that is happening is, as some people had to retire because the new IGP is coming on board, that is the same way Benjamin Day will have to move up the ranks a little bit, and this rank is going to actually outrank being a police PPRO. Definitely someone else with lower rank will have to take that responsibility. So it's not about a tribe, it's not about religion, it's not about the fact that Tunji is bringing his own cronies into it's about the rank Benjamin Day will be assuming. Automatically there will be promotions. Just like there was rapid promotion for the new IGP to make sure that he takes that responsibility as the IG of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's the exact situation right here. So you move up the ranks, and when you outrank a particular position, there's nothing you can do about it unless you have been given an extended stay on that spot. Or for the fact that we know that probably you are the best in this position for now. Just stick to it and then mentor some people, tutor them so that they can take that role from you. But as it stands, there are so many vocal people in the police force. At least I know about a particular fine lady that has, that makes content on social media. I think she's in the southeast. She's the police PPRO for one of the southeastern states. I will try to remember her name and the state shortly. But then there are people like that who can actually move up the ranks and also take that responsibility. So it's not about probably there is a tribal whatever going on in there. It's just the norm, the status quo being playing out.
And of course, I think we might want to say that while a lot of persons who want to question this is because it's one of the shortest tenure in that position.
Right, so just about 6 months.
Yeah, 5-6 months thereabout. Yeah. But there's been the conversation also. If you take it from history, from historical perspective, you understand that the longest serving FPRO, that's a Force Public Relations Officer, served for 22 years, and that's Robert terrific guy, Ezekiel Hart. He served from 1961 to 1983, and that makes a lot of sense. To serve 22 years, I think that's the longest serving FPRO in the country. And then we've had a lot of persons who served at one point and later served again. Frank Mba, for example, served from 2012 to 2014, and then 2019 and 2022. That's why a lot of persons are saying it's most likely should be the IGP that should be. A lot of people feel like this guy has enough experience. He has all of that in the books, and it should really, because it became the DIG. And I think one of the things that plays out in this kind of scenario is that once you move from that position, because one, I must also say that this is not a fixed tenure appointment. It is actually a an administrative posting,
Absolutely.
you know, according to the Nigerian Police Act and all of that. So it is not something to say. So it's not based on whether or not you are doing well safe. It's about if there's going to be an internal shakeup in the administrative department of the police force. That's also one of the considerations. But we can also agree that while this is making a lot of noise, is because it's a short term for him, and of course we might also want to look at many other things. Now we know some like I'm saying from examples as well. Donna Wuna served in 2016 to 2017. That's just 1 year, and you might want to think about what could have happened from being the first female FPRO, like you said. If we have that lady from the Eastern as well, Eastern State, I mean that makes the second police force PRO that is a lady, and it makes a lot of sense to even think that some other persons like Moshood Jimo also served from 2017 to 2019, and he served under, you know, during the tenure of IGP Ibrahim Idris, and a lot of persons, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, which is of recent, to 2022 to 2025, before Benjamin Dane also served nearly 3 years. You know, so if my should we say the person that I succeeded,
it wasn't that stretch.
exactly, you know, so but if you check every other person that I've served, I'm not sure there's anybody that I've served below maybe 1 year. So this is the first person that is making 5 months. And there are speculations around, I'm so sure you are abreast of that. There are speculations around town about the fact that there's Shewore versus the police. And then it's mentioned some things that Benjamin Dane is not supposed to be, when it was called to be. Like he doesn't have the portfolio yet to be the first PRO for the police department. But a lot of conversations will still manage, because someone was saying Shewore is just trying to chase clout. He's not really, he doesn't understand the police act. He doesn't understand what they can do in the police department of the country. But I think in all of this, I just want to say that it's very important that if Disu feels he has someone else who can do this job better, I think we should probably just believe him.
It's not about doing it better, actually. It's about, you see, you outrank some things. I will cite an instance. Some of us, when we started this broadcasting job, it's not like we started, you know, being the face. Some of us started from probably being a studio manager to, you understand what so when it gets to a stage where you outrank a particular level, you don't go back there. Of course, even the system will not put you back there because they know where you belong. That's exactly the case here. He's definitely going to get promoted. And when he gets promoted, he outranks that particular position.
But the argument is 5 months enough to get another promotion?
No, there are even people that even get up to that.
Of course.
Before they were promoted or reassigned.
I will cite an instance. The same Frank Mba you've been talking about had to be promoted, I think, 3 times in 5 years. Because he had to meet up with a quota. Okay, there has to be, in the police management board, there has to be someone from the southeast on that board. So he had to be promoted three times in 5 years to meet up with the likes of, in fact, he outranked the current IG at that time. Disu at that time, because of you know, how he was promoted. So I think for me, it's not really about having someone else. It's about understanding how the system works. And if there was anyone that said, Omoyele Shewore does not know how the police works, I think that person is right. You are never a police officer. You have never served in the Police Service Commission. You are never a member of the Police Management Board. So automatically, you know next to nothing about police. You might know about the Met Police, or you know about the FBI in the US if you study about them or read about them. But then this is Nigerian Police Force. I mean, there's a particular Yoruba saying that says, you know, whatever happens inside stays inside.
But this is maybe just to make the to advance that conversation, because Shewore has given himself the credit of, you know, when IGP Egbetokun was about to be removed. I think Shewore came out to say that he was involved in that. Like, he made sure that happened. Like, was giving credit to himself, and that's why a lot of people are saying.
No, I don't think he said that was not involved in how IGP Egbetokun was removed. I think what I saw online was that, you know, he went to the office and then he asked the police officer that, you know, as the former IGP left, he's the new IGP around, that he wants to come and see this to himself. And of course, you know, the police officer was like, no, IGP Egbetokun, he didn't even know, that police officer didn't even know that, you know, Egbetokun, you know, has to leave and another person, you know, was appointed. So he went there to just pay his respect to the new IGP. But at the end of the day, he cannot even be the person that will determine whether somebody, another person will be appointed. He can only drop his, you know, criticism. Yeah, right. And then one thing about Shewore is that he does not only criticize the police sector. He does that for, you know, every other sector, because he's an activist, you know, belongs to the opposition party. So he always has something to say, really.
Well, I think we have to draw the lines between being an activist, being a politician, playing opposition politics, and some other things. There has to be be a clear line between all of this. Yeah, and, you know, for sure, it's a case for another day. We'll still talk about him. But let's take weather report on this show this morning, because I know Yemi would have a counter opinion about that. But
it's not a counter opinion.
We'll talk about it some other time, actually.
It's the truth.
For more Yemi show, I think we have to draw the lines between what it does in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we're starting with the ancient city of Ibadan. What does the weather look like in Ibadan as we speak right now? It currently feels like 29 degrees Celsius in Ibadan. As we speak, it is currently partly cloudy. But later in the morning, it will remain partly cloudy and rise just by a degree to 30 degrees Celsius. And by afternoon, it rises by 7 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy, humidity expected to be around 18%. And by evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius. That's a drastic drop to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly clear. And the humidity also drops to 4%. And overnight, yes, it will be around 26 degrees Celsius, mostly clear, humidity at 3% right here in Ibadan today.
Okay, from Ibadan, we cross to Abeokuta South. Weather feels like 31 degrees Celsius, and later is expected to remain at that 31 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 3%. In the afternoon, there's a rise to 36 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 3%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 4%. And overnight, 27 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 3%.
And from Abeokuta now to Ekiti West today, because the weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius across board. And in the morning, it starts at 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, and that's what the weather is expected to be. And later in the afternoon, a further rise to 35 degrees Celsius, about 6 degrees Celsius increase to become partly cloudy in the afternoon. And evening, it drops to 27 degrees Celsius, also expected to be partly cloudy. It remains mostly cloudy, dropping 3 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius overnight in Ekiti West today. All
right, from Ekiti, we'll go straight to the Center of Excellence, and that is Lagos this morning. Weather in Lagos currently feels like 34 degrees Celsius, and it is currently partly cloudy in Lagos right now, and it will remain partly cloudy later in the morning and drops to 31 degrees Celsius with humidity around 4%. In the afternoon, it rises just by a degree to 32 degrees Celsius, remaining partly cloudy, humidity at 3%. And it drops further to 29 degrees Celsius in the evening, mostly clear, humidity at 4%. And it maintains 29 degrees Celsius overnight, partly cloudy, humidity at 1% right there in Lagos. So if you're in Lagos, weather is going to be relatively close today, being partly cloudy right there in Lagos at the Center of Excellence.
Okay, from Lagos to Ilorin, South Kwara, weather feels like 26 degrees Celsius this morning, and later in the morning is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 38 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%, and in the evening, it drops to 31 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 0%, and overnight, it drops further to 26 degrees Celsius, mostly clear, around 1%.
And quite a number of similarities between Ilorin and Osogbo today, because the weather feels mostly cloudy at 25 degrees Celsius across board. In the morning at 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, and it rises by 7 degrees Celsius up to 37 degrees Celsius in the afternoon to become partly cloudy as well. It remains partly cloudy in the evening, dropping to 29 degrees Celsius, and overnight it drops much further to 25 degrees Celsius, dropping 4 degrees Celsius to become mostly clear in Osogbo today. All
right, a quick trip to the north central this morning. We'll take this one from the largest state in Nigeria, and that is Suleja, Niger State. As we speak, weather in Suleja currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and it is quite clear right there. And later in the morning, it rises to 32 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, zero chance of humidity, and it rises by 6 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. It will be mostly sunny right there in Suleja, and then it drops to 29 degrees Celsius in the evening, partly cloudy, and by night, it drops further to 24 degrees Celsius with the weather expected to be clear and humidity at 1% right there in Suleja, Niger State today.
Okay, from Suleja, we cross to ABJ, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius this morning, and later is expected to be around 31 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And in the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 37 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, around 0%. And in the evening, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly clear, around 0%. And overnight, it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%, and that's what we have for FCT this morning.
The weather will be partly cloudy in Maiduguri, Borno State today because it feels like 16 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy across board. And the morning is that at 29 degrees Celsius, expect to be mostly cloudy. Also in the afternoon, it rises to 36 degrees Celsius, expect to be cloudy as well. It remains mostly clear in the evening at 25 degrees Celsius, and it drops 5 degrees Celsius down to 20 degrees Celsius to become clear overnight in Maiduguri, Borno State today.
All right, from the northeast to the northwest, I will take this one from Kano. Weather in Kano as we speak currently feels like 16 degrees Celsius. It is mostly clear, mostly cloudy right there as we speak, and it rises by 10 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. Partly cloudy, zero chance of humidity, and it rises further to 34 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in the afternoon, and by evening it drops to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. And of course, overnight, it drops to 19 degrees Celsius. The weather is expected to be clear, zero chance of humidity right there in Kano, Municipal Kano State this morning. And that's all we can take on Weather Report. We say thank you for being a part of the show so far. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Alright, do well to follow us on our Facebook page at Dominion Broadcast Television, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Do well to drop your comment there. We'll take them on this show. Alright, we go on a short break now, and when we return, it is time to take the news. We'll be back.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anuluakpo Idowu. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a case filed by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency against suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari over alleged non-disclosure of assets. Justice James Omotosho discharged and acquitted Kyari and his brothers, Mohammed and Ali, ruling that the NDLA failed to prove the allegations beyond reasonable doubt. The judge described the case as persecution, and the Anti-Narcotics Agency had accused the defendants in a 23-count charge of failing to declare several assets, including properties and funds discovered in different bank accounts. However, the defendant pleaded not guilty to the charges, leading to the court's decision to dismiss the case. The Oyo State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of 4 people along the Betsi to Kishi Road in the Rekpo local government area. Police said search and rescue operations are ongoing with tactical teams deployed to secure the victims and apprehend the suspect. The command urged residents to remain calm and provide any information that could assist security efforts. Recent police operations on the state have also foiled other kidnap attempts and neutralized suspected bandits, highlighting ongoing efforts to ensure public safety. Away from the pace at the state, the Cross River State House of Assembly has suspended the member representing the Bubra 1 state constituency, Dixon Agbo, indefinitely over alleged violent conduct. The decision followed the motion moved by Davis Etta and seconded by Francis Basia Suko during plenary on Thursday. Etta condemned the alleged incident, describing the conduct as unbecoming of a lawmaker and contrary to the ethical standards expected of members of the legislature. He added that the House must take firm action to protect the integrity and reputation of the Assembly. Meanwhile, the Kano State House of Assembly has begun impeachment proceedings against the Deputy Governor, Aminu Abdul Salam, over alleged misconduct, abuse of office, and breach of public trust. The impeachment notice was presented during plenary by the Majority Leader, Lawan Dala, and read by the Speaker, Ismail Fagore. Lawmakers said the action was initiated in line with Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution, which empowers the state legislature to begin impeachment proceedings against the deputy governor accused of gross misconduct. And now straight to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has said the country's total gold holdings have reached $3.5 billion. In a statement, the Apex Bank said the gold was sourced locally and aggregated by the Solid Minerals Development Fund under the National Gold Purchase Program. CBN Governor Layemi Kadutu explained that the monetary-grade gold was purchased in Naira with pricing linked to the London Bullion Market Association benchmark. The development comes as the Naira continues to depreciate at the official foreign exchange market, falling to 1,387 Naira 9 kobo to the dollar. And finally, in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has rescheduled the 2026 Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations (WAFCON) in Morocco. Originally slated for March, the tournament will now hold from July 25th to August 16th, 2026, following consultations with FIFA and other stakeholders. CAF said the change is aimed at ensuring the success of the competition, with preparations already underway and confidence high among organizers. And that's about it on Daybreak News. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I'm Anoluwapo Idowu. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Let's start with Daily Sun this morning. I have the banner headline that says ADC, APC fight over Tinubu's scorecard. And that headline has it raised as is government incompetent, says coalition party. President has done well. That's coming from the ruling party. I mean, that's a little bit, to talk about this morning, because the opposition party, ADC, is saying this particular administration is not competent, while APC is saying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing well. So who do we believe now? I think that's the call of the citizens to determine who is right in this particular situation. Away from that headline, let's also check this one that says that terrorists attack soldiers, kill imam, kidnap scores in Borno. Something terrible, happened in Borno State, and quite a number of persons, lost their lives, and it's really sad. And of course, people are calling, the security apparatus and the new IGP and of course the army to say, how can we douse this tension? How can we reduce the insecurity? Because it's a lot to talk about. I mean, from one state to the other, when they start, from with a particular state today, by the time in the next 2 weeks you hear that they have moved to another state, and then it keeps happening day after day. It's really sad that we are in this situation in this particular country called Nigeria. Away from that headline, we also have a song that says NDLEA insists substantive draw case against Abakari on course as court dismisses ex-IRT boss brother's non-declaration of asset trial is still in our custody. That's coming from the NCOs, and of course, talking about the case of Abakari, they're saying it's still in our custody, and we are still trying to investigate further on that one. Away from that line, let's also talk about this one that says motorists to pay airport tolls with cash card, and that's coming from FAN. Says Tinubu didn't scrap cashless policy. And of course, don't forget that, I think about 2 days ago we talked about this, when President Bola mentioned waiting on this particular matter. And of course, FAN is saying the president did not, scrap the cashless policy. And of course, they are still going to pay with cash. Away from that, Senate summons Melikiari, Ejia orders over unaccounted 210 trillion naira. Queries of 5 billion naira spending on transition from NNPC to NNPC. If you've been following NNPC, in the last few years, you understand that, there's always one huge amount of money, that, they're asking these people to come and account for. There was even a time that, the particular JCO was, someone that he said, the Senate did not appoint me, the president appointed me, so I have no business with the Senate. So these are the issues. This huge amount of money really should be accounted for, in this particular country. 210 trillion naira, and of course, 5 billion naira that was spent on the transition from NNPC to NNPC. Huge amount of money, and really Nigerians are waiting for explanations. Let's cross over to the New Telegraph this morning. I have this headline that says financial irregularities, Senate direct NNPCL to refund 210 trillion naira, summons Kyari, Ojulari and others. We spoke about that, just right now. Away from that, I also have this one that says, if we say we want democracy, we should be sincere about it. That's coming from Onayekon. Says, let no one tell us there is no way out of security challenges. Actually, there's a way out of this. Because we always talk about the fact that Nigeria at a time helped other neighboring countries to solve insecurity. So why is it that the giant of Africa, is struggling with insecurity, and then it's becoming more serious? Because there was even a time that it was not this serious, and so they are saying that there must be a solution to all of this. Even last year, I recall that the president ordered that there should be new recruitment, into the police force, into the army, forest guards, increase the funding of these people so that they can actually do it. So even at that, we are still seeing, insecurity. It's still biting really hard, and Nigerians are dying. Young, old, Christians, Muslims, even traditionalists are dying. It's a sad one. Away from that, I also have this headline that says, Middle East crisis, IMF advocate adequate forex reserves for Nigeria and others. Okay, let's also take this headline, still taking headlines from New Telegraph. I have this one that says, federal government signs deal with any Jeep ends 15-year OPL 245 dispute. And away from that, let's cross over to Daily Independence this morning. I have a headline that says, our foreign vessels are draining Nigeria's maritime wealth. We've always discussed this particular matter about foreign vessels and foreign interference, but a lot of Nigerians don't want to hear it. As a matter of fact, they feel, if nothing is even going on, there should be better way to actually discuss this matter, because they feel at the end of the day, they are not even seeing the dividends of all of these, Nigeria's maritime wealth. But we really should talk about this, talk about new colonialism in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria alone, and of course in Africa. It's something that we really need to discuss. And away from that, I have another headline that says, political parties crisis distracting election planning, INEC warns. This is not the first time that I'm taking this particular headline. INEC, coming out to say the internal crisis, across the opposition parties, is affecting their work. Really, should that be an excuse for INEC? Because this is not the first time that we'll see internal crisis, across party lines. It's not the first time, and of course, it's not going to be the last time, because it's not possible when you have people, in their hundreds, there will always be disagreement. But then one thing is key. how soon they are able to solve, the disagreement is what is very important. But speaking about, internal crisis, it will always happen. And this will not be the last time. It was even more intense. I mean, towards the last general election, I recall very well, especially 2022, towards, 2023. It was really intense. But then that didn't stop INEC from working. So this internal crisis, party crisis, should not stop INEC from doing their job. Because, I mean, we have a new person in town, Joash Amokito. He must ensure that, it will do the right thing and, of course, ensure that we have a free and fair election. We have the Osun State election, coming up and, of course, the general elections, next year. It might still be this year because, I mean, they're still talking about, the timing and, of course, the timetable. And away from that headline, I also have this one that says, ADC supporters storm court, demand judges and recusal from case. Party says Tinubu's government most incompetent in Nigeria's history. We discussed that earlier. This is not the first time the opposition parties, or of course the big shot in the opposition, will come out to say that Tinubu and the APC, they are so incompetent, speaking about this current administration. And away from that, I also have this one that says, Middle East crisis, Dangote refinery vows to prioritize Nigeria, raises petrol price by 100 naira. There's something going on, I mean, between Dangote refinery and, of course, the marketers. They are saying, oh, your fuel is so expensive, and Dangote is saying, okay, you can go ahead to import now if mine is expensive. And away from that, let's cross to a Daily Trust this morning. I have a headline that says, terrorists abduct over 100 women, children, in Borno. We discussed that, before now, and I think it's a very sad one that, over 100 women, we abducted and children in Borno. Why is this happening? There was a time recently, it stopped in the north and then moved to the south, and then it's going back to the north again. What is really going on? Just like, someone mentioned, yesterday, that we actually have what it takes to solve this insurgency, abduction, and of course terrorism in the country. We have what it takes, but what is really going on? I think it's something that we really need to talk about. And away from that headline, I also have this one that says, unprepared leaders are Africa's problem. That's coming from the former president of this country, Obasanjo. Don't forget that, he celebrated his birthday recently, and of course, quite a number of persons, celebrated them. But he's saying that, unprepared leaders, are Africa's problem. Unpreparedness, I think, is something we should look at. Is it really about, being unprepared? Should we also talk about, expertise? Should we talk about understanding, the complexities of Nigeria as a country? Should we talk about experience? Because you cannot rule that out when it comes to, ruling a country like Nigeria that is so diverse. And because apart from that, we also should talk about, these particular areas, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa as a continent. Another headline is saying smartphones prices to increase by 20% in Nigeria. I don't think anyone is cool or will be happy hearing this particular headline, speaking about smartphone, because I mean, the prices are even high as we speak. A lot of persons cannot afford new phones. They have to go for second hand, and of course, maybe UK use just so they can get a phone. Now, the price is supposed to increase by 20% in Nigeria. Is this something that we can really afford? And that's what we talk about. It's really a problem. And of course, before we continue this morning, we need to take a short break. And when we come back, our analyst will join me this morning speaking about Afalami, and he's going to help me make sense of the top headlines this morning. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. The still newspaper headlines and analysis. Of course, I have with me in the studio of Falami, a public affairs analyst. Welcome on board this morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Of course,
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. Okay, let's cross to the Punch newspaper. I have this banner headline that says U.S.-Iran war, marketers Dangote trade words over petrol price. Imported petrol cheaper than Dangote's by 64 naira per litre. That's coming from the marketers. And then Dangote is saying, defy Middle East war to import petrol. Dangote challenges the marketers. You know, it's a bit of back and forth,
yes.
You know, with these two bodies, really.
Well, what I have to say about that is that, you know, there has been a war on ground here about Dangote refinery becoming a monopoly in the market industry, and the marketers want to break the monopoly and also import their own petrol and then beat the price. I only want that everybody is fighting for their own personal interests at the detriment of Nigerians. If you have our own refinery working properly and our government is doing what is expected, I don't think we will be on this table talking about the Dangote and the marketers, fighting for importation and price equity, or we can say, talk about differences. Okay. If we have our refineries working and government have not thrown out their responsibility into the air, making Dangote becoming a determinant of what be our petroleum pump price, and the marketer struggling with such kind of situation, also wanted to import petrol and sell at their own price. This tells us the lacuna in the governance that we are presently running. It shows that our government have not done the needful yet. For about how many years now, they pumping money into the refinery and nothing is working. A time was during the last era, they told us that the light is up, and they show us that the refinery will be working. All of a sudden, everything just died down, just like that.
Until Ojulari came out to tell us plainly that
it's not going to work. Imagine that. Until Ojulari came out to tell Nigerians that this thing is not going to work. But the Buhari regime has siphoned a lot of money in betraying Nigerians, in diverting our attentions to something else, while they are pumping their money, the money into another place. So that is why you see, when Dangote is now becoming the chief determinant of this petroleum pump price, I'm not surprised, because I know that everybody have their interests, and the marketers who are now talking, they will have feel short change in some areas where they expect. You know, there was a time they were talking about the distribution process where Dangote wanted to take over everything, and they felt that no, it's not going to work. But all this still lie in the areas that our government is not doing what they are supposed to do. Okay, so don't you think that this is a little bit beyond this control, especially the war, the U.S.-Iran war? Because when some persons were saying to Nigerians that this will affect the entire world, most persons did not believe it. They should, because the Middle East war is a war of the petroleum industries. They are the one in charge. They have it, and there is no way you want to import and you want to go to that place, especially at a very dangerous time like this. Okay. And you will not be asked to go back or wait for something for the war to come down. The war is going to affect everybody. It's going to affect our supply. It's going to affect our currency. It's going to affect so many things that we are yet even to determine right now. And that is why we are calling for peace. If there is peace, we will have a better way to trade, a better way to do business, a better way to determine. Right now, the petroleum price is going for 1,000 naira plus. From previously, about a month ago, it was 870, 850.
And then Dangote was reducing it, maybe sometimes even twice a week. The price will come down.
Yes, it will go up again, because it's not stable yet. It's not stable yet, and the world came in between all this, trying to stabilize the price. So what do you expect? The man will only work on his ratio, the work on his price stability, to know what to sell at the time and to know how to put the price. That is just it. Okay. But the marketers are now calling for an importation and accusing Dangote of the price differences, where it as a result of the government inability to do the needful.
Okay, let's cross to Vanguard this morning. I have this headline that says, Nigeria is poor because we celebrate looters. That's coming from Peter Obi.
Well,
does he have a point?
Yes, he has a point. A very good point. Till date, some people are still going through probe allegations, and there was a time a particular director in the retirement firm ministry was alleged of a huge amount of money, and till date we are yet to hear the end of that story. A lot of them, the likes of Abba Kyari, a lot of them. Now we've seen the ex-petroleum minister being questioned again. It's not for his performance as a director in the ministry, but the way and manner money keep going out without records. And that is why you ask, or when you calculate all this money, you ask yourself, is Nigeria still rich? Are we this rich? At present, the Abacha loot still coming down from heaven. And somebody will ask you, what is going on? And you see, when we don't do accountability, when we find it difficult to question our looters, when we find it difficult to put them to justice, then we see many people becoming poorer.
So don't you think it's a systemic problem? And then the system is contributing more than the individuals? Because I remember the case of Abacha loot, even during the military incursion.
Yes.
And then from 1999, Obasanjo, there was a time he said that, what is deputy,
the article
what is stole can actually
take care of
the entire nation for years.
And the man is still contesting, and that is where you ask so many questions and there is no answer of what is the position of Nigerian and ordinary Nigerian. How do we expect them to live? What do become of the salary earners? What become the small medium enterprises life? That is why you see politics becoming so juicy for people to go in. They do it like a do or die affair, that they get there, it's over. And that is why somebody will be contesting for House of Rep the first time, the second time, the third time, also asking for the fourth time. And you ask, what have been your achievement from the time you've gotten to that chamber? What have you done? You look at their constituency, nothing to write home about, nothing to say this is what this man has actually put in place. Has he reduced the poverty level in the constituency? Have he increased the capacity of manpower in their state? Everybody is now going for an hospitality business as if that is where the buck end. And I ask myself, where we don't have the opportunity to question them, where there is no accountability, the people become poorer. Go on the street of everywhere. You see the faces. See how people are hungry. See the hunger on their faces. See the hunger. It's there. And our markets the price keep going up. Food commodities keep going up. Nobody to ask questions. No, if you want to start a business right now, you see that you are getting it from your own savings, or you are asking your family members. There is no loan anywhere. People are talking of house deficit. There is no mortgage to start any building. Government is not even looking at that, and they cry about those who are renting out their houses.
But Oshiomhole at the time went on national TV to say that the prices of food is coming down.
Oshiomhole's table is determining that price. Where it is. Maybe because Oshiomhole has gotten a particular food, and they told him that last week we bought this for 500 naira, then this week we are buying it for 350. You will summarize that to say, oh, the price of food is coming down. Let Oshiomhole go elsewhere. I've been opportune to go to some states, and at the time that this price is not even equal in this state.
Even in Ibadan. If you move from one seller to the other,
you will see that if rice is 2,000 naira per Congo here in Akpata, Oluyole, by the time we move to the likes of Ashi, Bodija, and the like, you see that it's 2,500, 2,300. And you ask yourself, are you under a different atmosphere? Are you not in the same state, or is it not in the same capital?
Nigeria is peculiar.
That is just it. And when you move out of this place and you move to Imo State, you are moving to Enugu State, you are moving to those areas. Is so God knows how they live in that area. Even their transportation is not the same. Their petroleum price is not the same. Even though they are very close to the refinery, it's not the same. You ask how is people living, how are they surviving? Because there is no accountability, and our people don't ask questions. And where they ask questions, they get picked up as a critic, as an activist, as somebody who doesn't want the life of the government to last. They see them as haters of the present government. So that is what we are experiencing.
Okay, it's really sad. Let's cross to Daily Sun and take this headline that says, terrorists attack soldiers, kill imam, kidnap scores in Borno State. Is there really an end to this whole insecurity? And some persons, have argued to say, there is a solution.
Yes.
But the security apparatus are not making use of that solution.
There is need for total overhauling of the Nigerian military entirely.
But we have a new person in town.
Oh God, this new person is not coming from heaven. This new person is an internal person who was just given a promotion to lead. There are some things that we will not want to disclose. He will not want to do more than what he can do right now. But there is need for total overhauling. There are infiltrators.
Do you think names should be mentioned? There was a time we heard a particular report that they are going to release names of those who are sponsoring terrorists. But to date, we've not heard.
These names are linked to some people who want to mention those names. So as they mention those names, those people will mention their name. And as they mention their name, there will be kata on the table. You see, that is why some people will call for an external fighter to come and rescue us. They call that because they know that those ones who are coming don't know who are on ground. They are just here to fight to follow the mission of kill, arrest, and detain.
Some Nigerians, I think Nigerians are divided. Some are saying, oh, let another foreign country come and help us.
Yes.
Some are saying, no, we don't want that.
Oh, wow. We will need that when we get to that stage. I'm telling you. Of recent, there was a kidnap along Ibadan or to Oyo Road, and bandits kidnap people on that road. So they are moving closer to our doorstep. And before we know it, we may not be safe at all. Everybody will not have the right to, we not have the opportunity to sleep with their two eyes closed. So what are we saying about that?
We pray it doesn't get to that.
We pray it doesn't get to that, but what are we doing not to get to that? Just the first time in the history of Nigeria, the new IG announced the need for state police, constituting the 8-man committee. That tells us that the man has come for the mission for 8-man for state police. But before now, it has never been an agreement that we have the state police.
But this is not the first time that they will talk about state police. I recall, even in the last administration, they discussed state policing, and then it was swept under the carpet.
Yeah, it will be true because those in government then don't want that state police to come to light. They believe that coming to light will not allow their mission. We kill what their people are doing. We may be the deterrence to the kind of policies they have on ground.
Okay, with the complexities,
yeah.
Do you think it's going to work without affecting the federal order? Speaking about state police now.
Well, before they do that, they will have checked into all the federal orders. I think that in other countries, they have metropolitan police who take care of the people around their areas. It's not that. You see, when you talk about federal police, that is where the government only determine what the police will do. The state here, all the state governors cry out to tell you that they don't have power over the police. They don't have power over the command. They even have to write to the headquarters before anything is done. So when they have the state police, aside the fact that we are afraid that they may be used for political reasons, if that is not there, they should be able to do what they need to do. They know the terrain, they know the hideouts, they know the people. I remember when I was in school and that was a very terrible period where people talk about cultism on campus and the likes of that. We have to be on ground, we have to be the one bringing out these guys who are not students, constituting this nuisance. And we know them, we know their hideout, we know where they stay. And these are the reasons where I would love that state police to come to life, because these guys that will be recruited will be the one living in that area. Not somebody bringing from Borno to come and be the CP in Oyo State. Or some people, or some police officers from Delta, from Kaduna, who don't know the terrain, will now come and constitute themselves in a particular the division and say they are the police. It's not going to work.
One analyst argued here on this particular set that those persons that they bring from Borno, they stay in the office. They don't even step out.
They don't even step out, but they don't also take action. That is also it. They don't step out and they don't take action. Because they understand they don't understand the terrain. And that is why we say, let those people be there. Let us have a state police. We may do the needful, hand over to the Nigerian police and ask them to go and put those guys to justice. So that is what we are calling the See, the rate at which criminals are going in their strength, and our environment need to be washed so that we meet up with that particular strength. If not, you will see this one getting higher than the other. And that is where we are asking that we get to meet up with the trend of the day on time before it gets out of hand. And that is where you see the need for state police. State police is long overdue. It's long overdue that government are just looking into it now. A lot of politics have been thrown into it, debate and the likes like that. But I tell you, it is very important.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave. I just want to believe that at the end of the day, state police would materialize
I'm praying
this
so
time
too.
around.
I'm praying
Okay,
so.
let's cross to Daily Independent and see what INEC is saying. This is the second time that this particular headline is coming up. It's saying political parties crisis distracting election planning. INEC warns. This is not the first time. This is not the first administration where we see crisis across political parties. Should that stop INEC from performing?
Well, I think INEC is an independent organization and leave the party aside. They should work according to their own, rules and regulations, where they need to monitor party primaries if they have need. I think this present law is saying that they don't need to come. It is not necessary to come and monitor party primaries. That clause, I'm still checking it. It will cause more crisis.
Really?
Yes, because
but don't you think it will reduce the interference of INEC? Because some politicians have argued that INEC is interfering too much in internal affairs.
Yes, INEC gets too much of power and gets too much of influence. They get influenced. But you see, when a particular set of people in a particular party wants to constitute their congress, like they say, they have their people in the INEC and they want to influence them. They bring those people to their own side and leave the other people who are grumbling to the other side, such that those ones will not have INEC presence at their congress. They will have. As soon as they have that, it gets certified. This one gets, questioned or cancelled. And that way you see the division. And they will now end up at the court. Because our own INEC is not actually an independent body who could see into which of these ones are the party Congress to say. But now they are saying that all database will now be flown into INEC, such that immediately you get into a party, you don't cross into another party, and that when you want to do a congress, you don't need to have INEC into you. It will mean that everybody doing the congress here, we have their, they are together, and at the same time, INEC is watching from, behind the camera, not to be present as. But the crisis will not end. It's just going to be another version. We are waiting to look at that. I'm very I'm anxious to see what we are.
And this is the first time we are testing these new acts of primaries that not just the delegates, each party member.
Each party member. Well,
it's something to look out for. I tell people that this next election
is going to be very interesting.
Epic thanks to you. It's been an interesting conversation. Afolabi, a public affairs analyst. All right, we need to take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to the big story. My name is Oluwayemi Adela. Please stay with us.
Nigeria's security landscape continues to evolve amid persistent challenges ranging from banditry and terrorism to kidnapping, cybercrime, and communal conflicts. In response, the federal government has recently initiated a shake-up within the leadership of the Nigerian Police Force, a move widely interpreted as part of broader efforts to reposition the institution for more effective policing. Leadership changes within security institutions often signal a new direction, one that carries expectations of renewed strategies, stronger intelligence coordination, and improved public trust. But will this new configuration at the top translate into tangible results on the ground? This morning on The Big Story, we examine what the new police leadership means for Nigeria's security architecture and whether the restructuring can address the complex threats confronting the nation. The recent leadership shakeup within the Nigerian Police Force comes at a time when Nigerians as a people are demanding stronger responses to growing security concerns across the country. In a move aimed at strengthening policing operations, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, approved changes affecting several senior officers in key operational and strategic positions within the police hierarchy. The objective of the restructuring is to inject fresh energy into policing system, improve accountability, and ensure the police leadership aligns more effectively with the administration's national security agenda. With crimes becoming more sophisticated, from organized criminal networks to cyber-related offenses, the new leadership is expected to strengthen intelligence-led policing, improve coordination and other security agencies, and rebuild public confidence in law enforcement. The President has also tasked the police leadership with prioritizing professionalism, discipline within the ranks, and community-based policing as a pathway to more effective security management across the country. Of course, these and more we will discuss on The Big Story this morning. And I won't be doing this alone. I have with me in the studio a respected public affairs analyst, a seasoned one at that, and his name is Ignatius Ofino Ebuselume. Good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, Samson Balogun. I'm delighted to be here this morning.
Been a while.
Wow, I'm excited to be here this morning.
Okay, let's talk about the restructuring in the police and what this means for the Nigerian people. If you look at the police force, in practical terms, what message do you think the current shake-up in that, in the police force, what does it mean for the Nigerian people and futuristic security strategy and structure in the country?
Thank you very much, Samson. Good intention is not enough, except what? Implementation of such good intention. When you look at the police force, the Nigerian police force happened to be one of the armed units of the country, saddled with the responsibility of ensuring what we call internal security. That is the job of the police. Internal security is one of the armed units of the country. The Nigerian police force happened to be the first armed unit that was established in this country. It was called the Police Constabulary. But what are the public perception about the Nigerian police force? The Nigerian police force firstly need what we call a change in their mindset and mentality, because the public perception about the Nigerian police to me is negative.
Are you talking about how and why it was created in the first place?
Yes.
And the perception remains the same.
Yes, the Nigerian police force was created to maintain law and order and to guarantee what we call internal security. But there is a problem on ground. The problem on ground is what we call moral reforms. How many of them in the Nigerian police force are refined in character? We have seen men and women in the Nigerian police force who are corrupt. The public perception is there. There must be a change in public perception about the Nigerian police force. And the only person that can be able to guarantee that change is no other person than Inspector General of Police, Mr. Olatiji Disu, that has been newly appointed. Refined men, that is what we need in the Nigerian police force. Refined women, women that are refined in character, men that are refined in character, men and women that are not corrupt. There is a negative public perception about the Nigerian police, and it's a problem.
So now that we have new leadership in the police, do you think hierarchical change could often translate to better policing?
No, it's part of it. But the first thing to be done is this: moral reforms. You must ensure that you change the mindset and mentality of the average Nigerian police. Now, let me give you an instance. The Nigerian police is being adjudged to be corrupt. Not all. The Nigerian police is being adjudged by the public to be an extortionist. They extort money from commercial bus driver, commercial taxi driver, commercial Okada driver, and the likes. Sometimes you see the Nigerian police force romancing with gangsters, those who smoke weed. Sometimes you see the Nigerian police force playing what we call dice and draft with gangsters. I've seen this, what I've seen. Now, when you ask them, they say it's a way of trying to gather intelligence. That is a crude method of gathering what? Intelligence. If you want to gather intelligence, there are ways you can be able to do it in line with modernity. Now, you are trying to gather information from gangsters or criminals. You are not identifying yourself with them, trying as a way. No, there's no how to go about it. So what the Nigerian police force needs for now is what we call character reformation. Especially those bad eggs among them. Those that are bad among them, they must be identified and prosecuted according to the Police Act.
So when you talk about when you talk about character, when you talk about reforms, and these are things people have often talked about. But basically, in my years as a market researcher, in a case where you cannot sample everybody's opinion, you take a sample. Now, I consider the police as a sample of Nigeria as a country. Is that if you bring in more people, especially more Nigerians into the police force, are you not recruiting the same set of people? Are they not Nigerians?
They are Nigerians. But there is what we call...
And whose role is it to reform the people? Is it not you to reform yourself? Or is it the role of the government to reform you?
The government has a role to play. Families also have a role to play. Religious leaders also have a role to play. Now, when you look at the allowances given to the Nigerian police, is it enough? It's not enough. We have to talk about police welfare. It is so sad and so pathetic that in this country, the government itself has relegated the Nigerian police force to the background. Ask me how, and I'm going to explain. In the Nigerian army, the Nigerian government provides everything they need. The military uniform provided by government. The military boots provided by government. Whatever they need is provided by government. But when you are talking about the average Nigerian police force, you have to provide your own police uniform. Does this speak well about the government? You have to buy your own boots. People that have been saddled with the responsibility of ensuring internal security. So you blame the government more. The government is discriminatory. So discriminatory. Why should you relegate the Nigerian police force to the background? I'm challenging the government. They are not being fair. The government always do what the armed forces require. When you are talking about the armed forces, they are responsible
Nigerian
for what?
Army, Nigerian Navy.
Yes, Nigerian Navy, Air Force. They are responsible for guaranteeing what we call territorial sovereignty, but external security. But now we are talking about internal security now. The armed unit that is responsible for guaranteeing internal security. The government is not playing what we call the right role.
Now let's take a little bit of facts on this. When you say what the police take home is not enough, and then let's use some facts to check if that is correct or not. Okay, under the Buhari administration between 2018 and 2022, there was a reform in the police force. And the federal government approved a review of the salary and welfare package for officers of the Nigeria Police. And the key development that came on board was in 2018, Buhari approved a new salary package and adjustment to allowance and pensions for police officers. In 2021, the Federal Executive Council approved a 20% upward review of police salaries, including additional allowances such as shift duty and supervisory allowances. Implementation, the increase took effect January 2022. And of course, the circumstances behind that was that the NSAS protest in October 2020 led to some reforms in the police force at that time. Now, away from there, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board just over 2 years ago. And in 2024, there was salary adjustment in the police. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, another salary adjustment was approved. And the key development that came on board was in 2024, the federal government approved a 25 to 35% salary increase across several federal salary structures, including the consolidated police salary structure, which is COMPOS. Okay? The circumstances behind that was that rising inflation and cost of living crisis when salaries were increased across board, economic reforms such as fuel subsidy removal and currency reforms, efforts to improve morale across the public sector, including security agencies. And the summary of all that was that within that period and now, within the Buhari administration and now, 3 different times salaries has been increased. Do you think emolument, salaries, take-homes are enough to change the morale of the police?
You know, it's one of the, you know, when we are talking about morality, it's relative. I can choose to be a honest person, and the next door person to me can choose to be a corrupt person.
So we both agree now it's not about money. It's not about the take-home.
It's the mindset of the people that are being recruited. There's one thing you must understand. When you're talking about the Nigerian Armed Forces, a member of the Nigerian Police Force and Nigerian paramilitary organization, they don't belong to any religion. They do no longer belong to any race. They bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is why they are not politicians. They are non-partisan. But when we are talking about the police structure in Nigeria, to me, we talk more about the inefficiency on the part of government. I'm blaming the government more. Why should a member of the police force be responsible for buying his police uniform? Does he speak well of a country like Nigeria? Whereas in the army, it is the government that will provide the army uniform for men and women in the Nigerian Armed Force. But when it comes to the issue of the Nigerian Police Force, you buy your uniform yourself. Does he speak well? Now what the government would have done is this. There should be a tailoring department in the Nigerian Police Force that will be saddled with that responsibility of doing what? Sewing Nigerian police uniform. It's highly classified. When you are talking about police uniform, army uniform, these are security uniform. You can, anyone that is not a police officer or a military officer wearing a camouflage, such a person should be arrested. Because it's what? Impersonating. And it's a criminal offense. They now come now, you a police officer now, you will now be responsible for buying your own uniform, security uniform. It does not speak well of a country called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So when we are talking about the issue of morality now, moral character, it's relative, but there should be consequence. Law is law if such law is obeyed. Law is also law if there is a consequence for violation. So those who are corrupt in the Nigerian police or the Nigerian army, they should be identified and prosecuted according to the law. It will serve as a deterrent. A monument will not be enough. Let me give an instance. We have what we call the police pension scheme. Is there supposed to be something like that? People who lose their life so that Nigerians can live. People who lose their sleep so that Nigerians can sleep.
What should have been the best way to do it?
No, in the army, there is nothing like army pension fund. Have you ever heard about the Nigerian Army Pension Fund? No! It's cheating. What's the difference between somebody that is in charge of external security and somebody that is in charge of internal security? Both are doing the same work, though on different platforms. Nigerian government believe that the Nigerian Armed Forces is superior to the Nigerian Police Force. It's wrong. We need external security. We also need internal security.
So you are
saying
saying
that is where the government was wrong. They are supposed not to be anything called the Nigerian Police Pension Fund.
Okay.
No.
You are saying just like we saw the cancellation of the HND-BSA dichotomy. There's
Yes.
something like that when it comes to paramilitary and military agents.
Yes. These people, they bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When they die in line of duty, their family cannot arrest Nigeria. Do you know that? But they must be compensated. Their families must be well compensated. That is what is being done in advanced nations of the world. Why should you now introduce what we call Nigerian police pension fund? To me, the government was not being fair to them, because there is nothing like that in the Nigerian Armed Forces.
Okay, now let's take a critical look at this. You mentioned about recruitment. And, having done a little bit of research about that and compared that to some other police across the world, especially the Met, the Metropolitan Police in the UK, when it comes to recruitment, there seems to be a difference in what we do here. And let's talk about the minimum education, especially in Nigeria. Secondary school certificate is enough for you to get into the police force. And in the UK, usually university degree or degree training. All right. Also, recruitment structure in Nigeria is centralized, of course, national recruitment. In the UK, it is done by of course, regional policing is done in the UK. Away from there, also, in terms of training and duration, in Nigeria, 6 to 9 months, you have become a police officer. And of course, you are free, to carry out your duties as a police officer. In the UK, it is 2 to 3 years with academic qualification. So, you cannot be a police officer if you have not gone through that training for 2 to 3 years. You can even be doing it on work. You can do, there's this particular approach they use. You learn on the job. Even though you are not carrying a rifle, you are not allowed to interfere, but you do ride along with experienced police officers. So you learn how it is being done on the job. But unfortunately in Nigeria, the moment you become a police officer, you find them on the road, and they do what you claimed they do. And also away from there, we talk about professionalism. Here, it is semi-professional structure because of the training within the 6 to 9 months training. But the UK, you do that for 2 to 3 years. And also, when it comes to entry into the police force, who does the screening? Do we do psychological evaluation? Do we even know the state of mind of these people we are bringing into the police force? Now, comparing the Nigerian police force and the recruitment to that of the UK and the US, what major strategic change do you think should be adopted?
You don't compromise merit. I keep saying it over and over. Merit has been compromised in this country. The problem we're having in this country is what we call the quota system when you are recruiting.
So do you think state policing will solve all of that?
State policing is just one of the ways to guarantee internal security in Nigeria. Okay. But it may be abused.
So
that is my fear.
Okay, now if we are seeing quota system playing its role, Oyo State, for example, as a typical example, won't we see the issue of, we are taking so number from Ibadan, we are taking so number of police officers from Ishayi, we are taking that from Shaki, we are taking that from Igbo. Are we not going to witness another quota system crisis that will jeopardize the motive behind state policing in the first place?
There is one thing I said the other time. When you are a member number from Okeogun, so no number from Okeogun, so no number from Oyo. That is politics, pure politics. That is not the best way to go about it. It should be based on what? Meritocracy. People that are willing to serve the country. Patriotic citizens who are willing to defend the country at all costs. Citizens that are not frustrated. When you go to the Nigerian police force today, even in the Nigerian army, people that have been looking for a job for years, you see a lot of them applying. Within their mindset, they are not willing to do that job of policing. But just the struggle to survive.
Let me just get something.
Yes, as a result of what? Frustration. But when you are talking about somebody that has passion to become a member of the Nigerian police force, that person will obey the acts of the Nigerian police.
That brings me to the question. Do we still have people who have passion to be police officers in this country?
I wouldn't know. But based on what is actually going on in the in the country, you see, there is what we call police brutality. How do you change that mindset? Now, an average policeman in Nigeria today is assumed to be brutal. He has forgotten, one, that uniform that he's wearing is a national identity. Two, he has forgotten that the salary that he is being paid or emolument was derived from where? Taxpayers' money. He has also forgotten that arms that he is bearing was bought using taxpayers' money. So how many of the members of the Nigerian police force today are civil in character when you are relating with civilians? The Nigerian citizens have the right to organize a peaceful protest. But you now see the Nigerian police force tear gassing them, using live bullets against defenseless citizens. Does this speak well? No, we are talking about bringing sanity into the system. So they must be reformed. The people have the right to organize a peaceful protest. The Nigerian police force also have the right to ensure that it does not degenerate into what? Violence or a crisis.
Now,
but they must be civil.
Away from there, now that the police has new leadership, the new IGP, Tunji Disu, is there now, and of course, shake-offs already going in. Benjamin Ndeye has been relieved of his duty as the police force PRO, and of course, a lot of appointments will come on board. Definitely, we will have to bring people who it feels like will be able to work with him on
his
this.
Voice.
Not necessarily his voice. Now, the problem is people would say his voice. Okay, Benjamin Ndeye definitely will get promoted, and definitely might outrank that particular position as force PRO. They might not have to be there again. Someone else will have to be there. So it might not necessarily be his voice, but definitely people will get promoted and there will be a shake-up. That is the current situation. What I want to believe. Away from that, what strategic steps do you think the new police leadership should be looking on board? At least in the first 100 days, 200 days as the new IG. What are the things you think he should do to stamp his authority on that position and say, look, I'm here to work?
He should introduce a good model of policing system that will be admired by Nigerians.
He was credited for
and
the RRS in
Lagos.
Lagos.
A good example.
He was credited for the RRS in Lagos. Do you think he can replicate that in Nigeria?
It can be replicated, but there's an issue on ground. Nigeria is being engulfed by what we call internal and external insecurity. So it's a problem on ground. The Nigerian police force for now is not adequate. The number of men and women in the Nigerian police force is not adequate compared to over 200 million citizens. Then the issue of security details for VIP. You see some of these VIP, 5 policemen attached to them. And the ordinary Nigerian citizen, there is no policeman attached to him or her. What a country and what a government. So there must be change. There is a change in leadership, fine. You have to introduce your own model. Your own model must be adjudged to be the right model that is peculiar to us as Nigerians. The police brutality is there. What about the cases that have been happening between the Nigerian armed forces and the Nigerian police force? We have seen cases in which the Nigerian army will now brutalize the Nigerian police force. Does this speak well? It does not speak well. It does not. Sometimes when I hear that a member of the Nigerian army decided to maltreat a member of the Nigerian police force, my heart bleeds. Both of you are doing the same job, though on different platforms. One is in charge of territorial sovereignty. The other one is in charge of maintaining what we call law and order. Both of you are the same. But it's the fault of the government. Like what I said the other time. You said Nigerian police, members of the Nigerian police force should contribute pension. Should be involved in the pension scheme, contributing pension scheme. But the Nigerian army, there is nothing like that. It's the responsibility of the government and the country to pay them their pension. But for the Nigerian police force, you said there must be what we call contributing pension scheme. It's wrong.
So do you think the state policing will solve the police-citizen ratio crisis we have in Nigeria?
No, that is not. It's going to solve it partially. But now there is one thing you may understand.
We just have
there is going to be what we call
police officers
federal police, state police. When you are talking about state police, we have 36 states of in the federation, plus including FCT, making 37. Each of these states, they will have their own police uniform. That must be different.
Police badge.
Yeah, but that must be different from the other state. So when you want to catch a criminal from your own state, and the criminal now succeeded in gaining entry in the next state, how do you now catch him? Because when you look at the policing system in the US, you know they have the federal police in the US too. They have the state police also in the US too. It's there because they are running what we call true federalism. There is nothing wrong about state police. But before we can be able to implement that state police, we must be able to ensure that we adopt the right model.
So are you saying there should be interagency coordination?
Yes, there must be interagency coordination between federal police and state police when it comes to the issue of internal and external security.
Even state to state, there mustn't be a crisis. There has to be a coordination. There has to be a working relationship.
Let me give you an instance now. there is a regional security network in Southwest called Amotekun. It's a good idea. Apart from state police, there can be what we call regional police as well. It's a good idea. That shows that Amotekun very soon may become one of the state police units for Southwest region, because they have the experience already. But the issue of arms control, because when you are talking about a typical Nigerian politicians, most of them are violent. They do not care about the lives of the citizens. What they care is personal interest above public interest. Will that state police not be used to attack the opposition?
Is there a likelihood of arms proliferation?
There is going to be armed proliferation, no doubt about it. So there must be what we call profiling of arms. So the central government has a role to play. Sometimes there was one time I was saying that if you say the president has been given that national identity as the grand commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the state governor too should be given that national award as commander of the Federal Republic. If you are saying that the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should enjoy a national award as the grand commander of the Order of Niger, what stopped the deputy governor also giving that award as what? The commander of the Order of Niger, CON. There are too many confusion in Nigeria. The president is giving that national award as the grand commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, GCFR. Fine. What about the executive governors? The executive governors, they are the chief security officer of their state, and you are the grand commander-in-chief, and none of them is given a national award. It does not speak well.
Well, maybe the president is listening to this, and definitely there has to be something done about it. According to your
yes, I want them to be given CFR, then the deputy governor CON.
Okay, thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic session right here, and I will do to bring you back some other time to talk about security and strategic developments in the country. All right. As Nigeria continues to confront complex and evolving security threats, the effectiveness of the new leadership within Nigerian police force will remain a key factor in shaping the country's security outlook. Leadership changes can signal a new direction, but the real measure of success will be seen in safer communities, improved policing standards, and renewed public trust in law enforcement institutions. We appreciate my guest this morning, Ignatius Ofino Boselume, for sharing his insight on this important national issue. Thank you for staying with us on The Big Story on Daybreak Live. I am Samson Balogun, wishing you a productive and secure day. Up next is Trend Watch. We'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. That was an interesting conversations, and I think quite a number of things were said. So this is time for Trend Watch, and what we have for you this morning is saying ADC has over 200 million support. I don't know why Samson is laughing. Allow me land, please. So ADC has over 200 million supporters. APC left with 30 governors. That's coming from Aisha Yusufu, ADC chieftain, and of course she's the chairman of this online registration. So when I heard that number, because I had to go watch the video to be sure that it's not AI, because we're in the era of AI, so anything can happen now. We've seen politicians say something, at the end of the day they come out and say, no, it's AI generated. I wasn't the one. So I had to go watch the video to be certain that she said 200 million Nigerians. So I'm trying to understand how she came about that figure. 200, how many is Nigeria? I mean, the entire country. And then I want to believe that PDP, APC, they all have their supporters. So if she's saying about 200 million Nigerians support ADC, I think it's something to talk about this morning. Over to you, Sam. So you've been laughing. So why are you laughing?
Well, the thing is, I think it is quite funny. How many Nigerians do we have? We have about 250, 270 million people according to estimation. But I think the federal government recognizes 250 million. So if we have 200 million, supporters of the ADC, so what's left for the PDP? What's left for the APC as a political party? And what's left for the other, I don't want to call them smaller parties, but other political parties like the SDP. Well, as of this morning, the APC has registered about 12 million members digitally. The ADC is also currently going on. I don't know where she got that figure from, because they started, I think, just this week, started their digital registration. And I don't know where she got the 200 million. You see, the reason why I had to smile is because I think people should just dial it down a little bit when it comes to exaggeration. ADC as a political party, came to limelight, so to say, was when Rauf Aregbesola, former governor of Osun State, Senator David Mark joined the party. And these are people who lost elections in their state even before now. Okay? I don't know what influence you are bringing. I want to consider them, you can quote me anyway, I want to consider them the party of the aggrieved ones. Okay, because you are angry that so person does not, align with your line of thought, does not do what you like, and you have brought yourselves together, and then what you see now is propaganda about how many supporters you have. So that means that even the unbanked, people who are definitely not going to cast their votes, they are part of, the 200 million people she's talking about, including you, including myself. Because if you are talking about people who are, definitely going to cast their vote, or maybe be on election monitoring duty, or probably have something to do with a political party, either as an observer or, of course, as a supporter of a political party, as a card-carrying member. These are people we are talking about. So where she got that figure from? I think she has to give us evidence and facts.
And then when the interviewer asked her that, how many persons have registered, she declined to mention.
She would not mention because recently I hosted the chairman, of course, one of the aspirants of the ADC in Oyo State. And it was behind closed doors. He said a few things about registration. And you could see where that is heading to. Unfortunately, I think Aisha Yusufu should, work on not being seen as a clown. All right? Mm-hmm. I think she should, talk moderately and be guided about making some statements. Because eventually you see, it is laughable. 200 million people out of 250 million or 270 million. So, and they are all ADC members. Okay? Who are the people that moved to the ADC? There are some who left the PDP, some who left the APC, and the Obedient Movement. How many votes did you get in the last election? 6 million plus. So where did you get the 200 million people?
Miracles happen, Samson.
I can as well say that it is more comical than it is political. Because even if you make a political statement, it has to be backed by data. There's no data to say, because if you, like you mentioned, they are non-partisan.
Empirical information.
Even if you say that the current population in the country is about 250 million, they are non-partisans, and I can tell you they are much more than 50 million. So that's even the data that you can work. You can work with this kind of statement. There's no proof, there's no backing to this to say, what about people that do not even have their voters card and all of those things? So if you're saying the national population, we're talking about both young and old. We're talking about the little children as well, who have not gotten their PVCs, maybe. So you can't tell the world that you have 200 million. That's well, I was going to say it's political, but I discovered that it's more comical than it is political. But of course, we cannot look out for these kind of things during elections and not find them, because we have people making claims like this. It's just a way to maybe to get traction and to gain attention of people.
Right, and speaking of that, let's take a look at the comment and what people are saying, because the glitch too, I think she was asked a question around the glitch, and then she was asked that why is it that people are finding it difficult to even register, and then ADC will always criticize INEC for the same glitch, and she said no, go and register, there's nothing like glitch. So it's something to look about, to talk about, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at what people are saying
just
on that particular matter.
As of now, the ADC had the intention, according to the benchmark, they had the intention of registering about 1.6 million people nationwide, and as it stands, they have about 3 million dues-paying members in the ADC, according to them. Okay, so 200 million as against 3 million. That's a very wide.
He's something to talk about, and of course, the first comment is coming from Jay the Oracle, and he's saying, "Wait, how many Nigerians do Niger, or his census was done secretly?" I think there's something to talk about.
Josephine Gogu says, "I just want you in the Senate chamber. You are selfless and fearless. You are the antidote for the corrupt Nigeria system." Really?
That's a compliment, right?
Well, another one, I think Okaka Great says, someone that cannot monitor local government elections. Now, church it shall be. Common online registration, you can't get it right. So I'm wondering, is this how you want to get it right in 2027? That's
okay, let me just say something on that, because the last FCT poll, there were no party agent for ADC in some areas. So how did they arrive at, if they can have 200 million supporters, or maybe less people, how did they not have party agents in FCT?
Okay. Rebel Prince says, I'm not part of the 200 million Nigerians you are talking about. People will definitely count themselves out. I mean, are you saying I'm also part of that? Well, it's a convenient place to leave the show this morning. We say thank you for being a part of the show so far. Do well to join us again next week. Same station, same time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day. And definitely the same host. Samson Balogo is my name. If you say something, say something. Security is everybody's business.
Okay, my name is Oluwayemi Adelak, and of course it's time to be accountable. Who do you support? Why are you supporting now that some persons are claiming 200 million? Bye for now.
And of course, I'll say vote intelligently when from 2027. That's one of the things we're saying. Don't just vote because you like somebody or because it's from your tribe. I mean, get in line. Vote the right person that is logically representing you. My name is Arnold Akwedo, and bye for now.